Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my show you are listening to right now. I appreciate you being here with us this week. I don't know why I say we. I am a podcast who highlights the interesting people around the city. Each and every week I have interesting folks on and we learn more about their lives. You know, as a patron of Pittsburgh, as a fan of the city, I like going to cool shops. I like going to good restaurants. I like going and patronizing local businesses. But in my daily routine of doing that, I began to become curious about how these places that I enjoyed patronizing came to be. And that's really where you are right now. I'll Call You Right Back is a podcast that is really just a podcast for the people. You know, each and every week we have someone on and we do a deep dive into the weeds about their lives. You know, whether it's a funeral director, whether it's a skate shop owner, restaurant owner, you name it. We have these people in each and every week, and you know, I just sit down and talk with them about their lives and about how they got to this point that they are at. And I love it. I really do. For a minute, I felt like I didn't love it anymore, but I promise I'm getting back to it. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the conversations that I've been having. The last month has been a conversation centered around food. You know, for the last month, I've had multiple different people on, but all centered around food. So last week was Pittsburgh dumplings. That was episode 275 with Eric White. He is a local gentleman around the city who creates these delicious dumplings around, and he just does pop-ups with them. You know, he shows up at local breweries. He shows up at, different places around the city. You could find his information at PGHDUMPLINGZ, or you could just go back and listen to this episode after you get done with this one. And then the week before that, I had a woman by the name of Dagny. Dagny is the owner and the one-woman show behind Dagny's Eatery in Carnegie, and she is a fantastic individual herself. You could go and check out her all of her delicious stuff at Dagny's Eatery on Main Street in Carnegie, or you could follow her along on Instagram at DAGNYS_EATERY. These are two people that were the last two episodes this week, and then we're continuing this food-centered march forward with another great guest this week. But before we get to that, I just have to say, I talked about it on here briefly last week's intro about a local author named Erin Hosfield who just came out with her debut novel called Lacuna Chimera Part 1. Okay, I just finished it, and I just have to say, 5 stars. You know, I have a Goodreads page. If you're a reader, you could find me on there. And I just been enjoying books. I've been reading books, and I found a local person who is an author, and I found her. She has a new book, and I read it, and I just really, really enjoyed it. You know, I really enjoyed it, and the fact that she's someone that just, her life is at Cyclops Tattoo down in Southside. She's been there for years. That's how I knew of her for some time. I followed her tattooing page, and then, randomly I saw that she was publishing a book, and, I picked it up and I just got done with it. Absolutely incredible debut novel. I can't rave about it enough. Lacuna Chimera Part 1. Her name is Erin Hosfield, at ERINHOSFIELD. You could find her book on Amazon. You could grab that. It's right now only an ebook, but a paperback will be releasing in May. So I will be talking to Erin on in a few days. I'll be talking to her on Monday, but it's going to be in a few days, and I'm going to be, deep diving into the process of, writing a novel, the process of how she came to write Lacuna Chimera Part 1, and her life as a tattooer. I'm very excited about it, but the reason I bring it up is because, if you're a reader and you enjoy reading and you're looking for a book, you could read this book, get up to date on it, so there's no spoilers when I drop the episode with Aaron. Just giving you a heads up, because there's going to be some spoilers. I cannot wait to sit down and just pick her brain about every single thing about this book, the process behind writing it, the characters, what her intention of the characters were, and I can't wait to, some of my favorite things that I do whenever I read a book is I try to visualize what actor that I enjoy would fit perfectly in that part. And I told Aaron, I was like, think about this. We're going to talk about this because I'm just curious. I'm curious to think, where her mind went whenever she created this and where a reader's mind goes whenever they read it. So pick up her book Last Time. Follow all these great people on Instagram. But the reason that we are here this week, like I said, we're continuing this food-centered march forward with Chef Life Hacks, Janet Loughran, who is a social media content creator, mother, chef, wife, you name it. She is a fantastic one-woman show as well. She does so by daytime, she runs a private chef company where she cooks for 8 or 9 families. She makes all their food for the week, and she does that. But in addition to that, she has created this social media page called @chef.life.hacks. She is on Instagram, she is on TikTok, and what she does is creates these videos, and they just go over all sorts of different things, all sorts of different recipes, techniques, little tricks and tips that could really help you out in the kitchen. One of her most famous and one of my favorites is her egg hack, where she teaches you how to get a perfectly peeled boiled egg every time. And, she's just interesting. She's an interesting person around the city who is a creator. And, I recognize people that are putting in the hours and the time, really just pouring themselves into what they're doing. And that's really what it is, and that's really how Janet came to be. She started this page a year ago. She's already at 36,000 followers, and she's just ripping. She's making these videos in her kitchen, in her house, which she claims to be outdated, which is, it's funny. That's her gripe. We talk about it in the episode, but it's cool because I feel like all of her videos carry a certain vibe. I enjoy watching her videos, and I reached out to her because I just wanted to hear what spurred her into, taking on this whole different challenge in life and starting to put themselves out there, create social media, be a social media person, be an influencer, so to speak. And, how she's kind of managed that lifestyle and that extra factor in her lifestyle as a wife, as a mother, as a business owner, and so on and so forth. And we talk about, in the beginning of the episode, we mentioned some people. I already touched on Dagny, who is a fantastic woman-owned business in Carnegie, making delicious food. We talk about how incredible her process is. We also talk about a fellow named Doug Cooking. He runs a page called Doug Cooking, but he also, he was a guest on this podcast a few months back, and he is, he's one of my wife and I's biggest fans. He's a big fan of everyone, really. He's just a great guy that is just, he's there to support people and to just be part of the show. And Doug has recently created a podcast that is a food-focused podcast. So if you're looking for some more things to listen to, it's called The Pittsburgh Dish. You could find it everywhere. But, we talk about, great people and recognizing people that are doing great things. And it's cool that, people in Pittsburgh are so motivated and so, just interested in doing fun things. You know what I mean? And I just enjoy learning with these people. I enjoy learning about their lives. I enjoy talking to them. And it's a treat for me. When do you, the person the people that are listening right now, when's the last time you had a 2-hour conversation with a random human being? Huh? Think about that. Not probably often. It's not often that you do that, I'm sure. I think about that, and I think about how today we're pretty much all, just on your phone. You connected with people. You're connected with your people through social media, through your phone, through all of that. People are FaceTiming, people are doing all that. But realistically, I mean, we gotta get back to just conversing. A conversation is the best, and a conversation with a completely random human being who I invite to my house that I know nothing about besides what I see from them online is it's an exhilarating thing to have. You have no idea what you'll expect, and you're always pleasantly surprised. At least I am, at least. But Janet brought me some of her halushki that it was her grandmother's recipe. Fantastic. And this week we get into her life a little bit in depth. So I will leave it at that. I hope you follow the people that I mentioned. I hope you have a great weekend coming up. Get out there, support local, support these great people in the city, and we'll see you next week. But without further ado, episode 276 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Janet Loughran of Chef Life Hacks.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do full time.
I heard Doug hooked you up, or hooked him up. You hooked Doug up with all that good stuff.
Doug's off on a tear.
I know.
Happy for him. I know. I'm happy to see that he's doing it. Yeah, he asked me about all this stuff whenever he came over and said that he was interested in it. And I was, I told him all this, and he was like, I don't think I'm going to go off the deep end at first. He was like, I'm going to hold on for a second. And then like a week later, he sent me a picture of all this stuff. And he was like, I think I went off the deep end, but yeah, I'm happy to see it. Like he's doing great work. Anyone who does any sort of like, content creation, I mean, I have like immense respect for.
You put yourself out there like that. Yeah.
It's just like, it's so much time. And like, I have no children. I know you have children, people have children that do this stuff. And it's just, I don't understand how everyone's able to get it all done.
I don't understand either. I have checklists, like to-do lists every day. That's how I live.
Are you a list person?
That's how I sleep. If I can't keep everything intact, but
I feel like maybe I should adapt to that and become a list person. Maybe that would make it easier for me, but I don't know. I feel like, cause I can't remember who else came on here, said they had 1,000 lists. It might've been Tara from Churchill or Churchview Farms.
Oh yeah.
Familiar with that? Yeah.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
She's a list person, but I need to adapt that.
Well, because it's very nice to be able to cross things off.
Yeah.
Be like done. And then, like I said, it helps me sleep at night. Like I don't have all these things flowing through my mind. I have to remember this. I have to remember that. Like, it's all written down.
Yeah.
So especially with, prepping for clients and things like that, it just gets crazy. So.
You know who tells me to make lists is my wife.
Really?
Yeah. She's way better at organization and preparation than I am. And, I feel like I work better under the gun.
Okay.
I like to think that at least, but realistically, preparation is the way to go. But she will be usually the one that's like, get your shit together. This is coming up. You got to figure this out. And I'm like, I will figure it out. It's all the chips are gonna land how they are.
Exactly.
So what's your full-time job? Are you a full-time content creator?
No, not even. Actually, that is taking kind of a back seat at this point, unfortunately, because I get so many messages from people saying, I love what you're sharing. I'm learning so much. Obviously wife and a mother, but I have a private chef company that I probably have 8 or 9 families that I will make meals for every week, 3 to 4 meals. Actually about 70 meals altogether each week. And then I'm on KDKA once a month, which is crazy to say. I have a couple things in the works. I might be working with Giant Eagle Market District in the future.
Yeah.
Doing some cooking classes. And I love cooking classes. I love teaching people, like, you can do this. It's not so above your brim. Like,
It's not as intimidating as people think.
Exactly. Yeah. I love people, like the aha moment, like, oh my God, I never thought like I could actually make short ribs or, fried rice or something like that. And
I mean, it's
simple.
really just like the recipe and like following the instructions, especially if you're not baking. Like baking
Yeah.
is more of a science. So
Chemistry for
yeah,
sure.
unforgiving, but cooking, like we were just talking about with Dagny, she was saying that she just prefers to cook really because, you kind of have like more freedom with it.
Yes. Just throw stuff in there till it tastes good. I like to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, with baking, like you said, it's a science. I mean, you don't know if it's going to turn out until the end. There, environmental things that are out of your control, like humidity or, the temperature of the oven that you don't know is off can make a big difference. But I give a lot of credit to pastry chefs because they know their craft and they know what they need to do to get the job done. And a lot of times,
crazy.
A lot of times in my profession, it's just like, I hope this works out. Let's make sure that these ingredients are what I think they're going to taste like. But say a tomato is too acidic or too sweet, you have to adjust as you go.
And you
So
have
it's a
more
little bit-
freedom to be able to adjust that.
Yeah, I like
rather
that.
than like, throwing a bunch of sugar in, a sourdough bread.
Right.
It's going to mess it up.
I know.
That's interesting to think about. So your company that you cook for, is that Red Wagon?
Red Wagon Meals. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
funny story how that started.
Yeah, well, I always see you're always wearing the uniform, the chef coat.
Yeah.
And I tried to look it up, but I mean, is that like, do you have like you have social media for that? Or is that kind of just like, how did this all come to be? You
So-
from Pittsburgh originally?
Okay, so, well, I don't know. I guess we got time.
We definitely have time. Let's rewind. I'm sorry. I was getting too into it.
No, that's cool.
Are you from Pittsburgh originally?
Okay, so my mom is from Pittsburgh. So I
Okay.
feel like I have Pittsburgh blood in me. And
Yeah.
this was always where we came for holidays. So it was like a homecoming for me.
Okay.
But my dad was in the Navy. So I moved 9 times by the time I was 13.
Wow.
So born in California, moved 3 places in California. We were in Rhode Island. We were in Virginia Beach. So it was always by an ocean, right? Because,
Yeah.
that's where he would be stationed.
Norfolk, Virginia?
Yeah, exactly. Norfolk, yeah.
I have relatives where my cousin was in the Navy and she was down there as well.
Nice. Oceana, yeah.
Yeah, wow. We got to go down there and see all that stuff, go out on an aircraft carrier and everything. Crazy
yeah.
stuff. So you were moving around a good bit.
I was, and it was tough while I was doing it, but I was glad that I had my twin sister because I never felt alone in a new school,
Just threw that in. You have a twin sister?
A twin sister, yeah. I wish I had a dime for every time I told the story. My parents did not know they were having twins until an hour before we were born. Like, imagine going to the hospital, you're in labor, and then you find out, there's not just one in there, there's 2. So you have to get another crib, another car seat, another, like everything.
So they
yeah.
obviously didn't, do you not get sonograms and like try to find out the gender back then?
No, not then. So if you were having complications, you would get a sonogram,
Yeah.
or if you were in labor, you would get a sonogram. And
Yeah.
the story goes that the nurse, not the doctor, the nurse was in the room and her eyes got huge. Like,
God.
I need to get the doctor right now. And my mom's like, just tell me, is there more than one? Because she would feel kick, like across her stomach and just think that it was a very active baby.
Wow.
But there was 2 of us in there. And I was
That
kind of
is
hiding behind
so
my sister. I was like,
crazy.
I'll just be here when you're ready.
Are
So-
you the youngest?
I'm the youngest by a minute, one minute
minute.
apart. Yep.
Wow.
And I
is
have that
crazy.
personality. Like Jen, my sister, is the outgoing one. I'm kind of like, I'm more outgoing now, but I'm kind of the introvert compared to her. So yeah, growing up, like whenever we would move to a new school, she would make all the friends and I would just kind of follow along. Like, oh, these are the people that are hanging with us, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember, I think I was like 16 or 17. I got a job at Fun for All. Do you ever hear about that?
Fun for all.
Yeah, it's like an arcade and go-karts and putt-putt golf, that sort of thing.
Yeah, almost like a caddy shack.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had that job. She had a different job, and we were always compared because we were twins. It was inevitable. But we went our separate ways at that point. I made a friend group. She made a friend group at another job, and we just became our own person. And then we just blossomed from there. And that's where I came out of my shell. But yeah, it was really fun to work there. It's kind of like that. What's that movie? Adventureland. Yeah, it's
that's
a good
exactly
movie.
what I think of.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
How old were you when you were working there? 16, you said?
I was I was 17. I just turned 17.
What a cool job to have when you were 17.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I worked in a coffee shop whenever I was like 19. It was like whatever, you know, it was like a stereotypical, like whatever type of job back then. Now I would probably like it way more, but working at like a fair, I remember I worked at fairs and stuff. That was always fun, but fun for all.
What'd you do at fairs?
I worked like, games, like table games and stuff like that. And like, Chuck-a-Luck wheels. Yeah. Typical things like that they'll put the responsibility in a 14-year-old kid, 14-year-old Boy Scout. But so like in high school, what kind of stuff are you into? Are you cooking at this point? Like, do you have family that cooks?
Okay, so I always talk about my grandma. She's my grandma Cecilia. She's my biggest inspiration. Whenever my dad got out of the Navy right after the Gulf War, he was trying to find a job, and we moved in with her for a short time. And that's when I really started to get comfortable in the kitchen and watch what she was doing and see the outcome of like this simple procedure that I never knew about.
How old are you at this time?
I was 11 to 13. Okay. I lived there from 11 to 13.
So at that time, you're like noticing like kitchen and like technique and like kind of like taking notes on that.
Yeah, like meat and potatoes type stuff, like Sunday roast or, chicken noodle soup or that sort of thing. Just, cabbage rolls and halushki and all that Polish good stuff. But I remember whenever I moved out of her house, I kind of missed that comfort food. My mom, I love her. She's the greatest, nicest lady, but she's not the greatest cook. She knows it. She's a great baker. I will give her that. She's an amazing baker.
Yeah.
But I remember like the Food Network came out and I started watching, Emeril and Rachel Ray and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, I could probably do that. Let me try my hand. And I got in the kitchen and failed miserably the first time, but they were so supportive and happy that one of their kids was making meals for them that they didn't hold me back. And I don't know why I didn't realize till after college that that's what I should be doing, but I didn't. So it was kind of a weird thing.
Were you taking like home ec and stuff in high school?
Every home ec class I could take, I would take.
Okay, so you were into it that way. Now, I mean, like as you're getting to become a senior, like what are you thinking you're going to do as a career?
I have no freaking clue. I'm just like trying to get through high school, understanding, who I am as a person because I've always been. So it's Janet and Jennifer. It's not Janet and Jennifer. It's Jen and Jennifer. Like they put us together.
I mean, did you have a stereotypical, like, you were almost one unit?
Yeah, it really was like you don't get the one without the other, I feel like. Maybe in my mind. I don't know about other people, but in my mind, it was like if you invited one of us and didn't invite the other, like that's not kosher. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is weird to think about now.
Were you like friend or foes as far as like clothes? Like did you both share one big closet or were you like, don't touch my stuff?
Okay, I hate to shop. I hate to shop, except for groceries. I like to shop for groceries. She loves to shop. Okay. And her, she would have stacked closet and I would go steal stuff and like hide it under my bed so she wouldn't see that I had used it. It was typical. Always, And then there were times that, we would have a twin moment where we would put the exact same outfit on, go downstairs and get ready for school and be like, no, you have to take it off because I had it on first. You know what I mean? We're not going to school looking exactly alike. So, yeah. So
you were able to blossom in your own people, like you said, kind of like, become your own person and break away from that. So if you're trying to figure out what you're doing, like, are you have the mindset of going to school after high school? So
I knew I was going to go to college. I thought, surprisingly, I wanted to go to, Pitt Johnstown because some of my friends went there, but the winters there are really tough. So
where are you living at this time?
We were in Cranberry. Since 94, we were living in Cranberry.
Okay.
And then we took a tour of the main Pitt campus. My sister wanted to go there. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Okay, I'll go here. And it was a half an hour from home. So you felt like you were far removed, but still able to go home if you want to do laundry or get a meal. You know? And she was dating some guy at the time. So she did not commute. She commuted and I was living on campus.
Oh, okay.
So it was a completely different like college experience. You know what I mean? She was on the dean's list every time. She got aces on everything. I was like, here's my report card, best I could do. You know what I mean?
What are you majoring at that time?
Marketing, which I really enjoyed. And I feel like marketing can be in any business aspect in life. So I'm
it's like
really
getting
glad
a business
that I did that.
degree.
Yeah, just putting yourself out there in a
Why do you
smart way.
think that you went that route though? Like what about marketing appealed to you that you were like, I could do this as a career?
So I started in business, just like blanket, business. And I really liked the professors that were in the marketing group, that the classes that I would take in marketing. So when I had to choose my major, that's what I went with. And I never looked back. I really enjoyed that.
What did your sister do?
Marketing as well.
Okay.
So we would have like one class a semester together, which was kind of odd because people knew me more because I was around campus, right? And she lived off campus. They just thought at first that I changed clothes a lot.
It's like, holy shit, there's someone that
another
looks
one
identical to you.
I know. I remember one time some lady some girl was like, "Hey, I waved to you and you didn't say hi to me." I'm like, "Girl, I haven't seen you in a week. Like, I don't know who that. I know who it was, but I didn't see you." Yeah,
it's like a movie almost. Like one lives at home, one lives here.
Yeah,
and it kind of would throw people off
because it's not like, "Hi, my name's Janet. I have a twin sister named Jen." Like I didn't explain it that way. You know what I mean? Just it would come out every once in a while. But
wow.
Yeah.
So marketing, in college at this time, like, are you a stereotypical college kid and just like eating garbage, or are you like cooking? Are you in the kitchen at that time?
I am not in the kitchen at this time. I mean, I would make things like,
nothing
ramen
crazy.
Right. Like ramen in a packet. I would add like, boiled
egg here,
boiled eggs,
little
and like
sriracha in
sriracha.
here. Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, it's like we're getting a little flick of the wrist.
I know, right? I mean, it's so funny. I didn't until someone said something to me that you should really look into this. It didn't occur to me that that's what I love to do, and then it just flipped a switch.
Well, that's what Dagny said too. Dagny was like, in college, like I didn't cook or I didn't, I didn't do anything like that, and she was like, I kind of just, didn't think of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, how does that marketing, degree kind of turn into you coming to the realization that you're supposed to be cooking? So
there was a gentleman that worked, or that my sister worked with, and she brought me on board, and he was a physician previously, and he had opened up his own company. So we were working out of his own home in Wexford. Very nice home, very nice guy, very nice family. I was, going through it. It was a job. It wasn't what I loved to do, but there was one weekend where his wife, I think it was their son's baptism or something. She was really stressed about all the food that she had to prepare for the weekend. And I was like, Judy, if you want me to, I can help. I like to cook. And then just took over, and she was very happy about that. So it kind of blossomed from there. And then on Monday, my boss sat me down, and he was like, I see you in the kitchen. This is what you need to be doing. I see you in front of the computer and in the kitchen. Like, I see your eyes light up. You command the kitchen without even realizing that you do. Like, why don't you look into this? How old are you at this time? 23. I just graduated 22. I was 22. So it's like you're at the age where you're at like a fork in the road, and you're like, I can be like a corporate type of job, or like, that's cool that your boss was like, hey, I recognize this. Yeah. I thank him. I mean, he changed the trajectory of my life. Like I didn't realize how much passion I had behind it until I went to culinary school. Yeah. I mean, I had to wake up at 5 a.m, and I was a night owl. Like, I was not a morning person, and I would jump out of bed like, all right, got to get ready. What I'm going to learn today. It just, you enjoyed it. I know. It just changed my whole kind of personality almost. It made me realize this is what I love to do, and let's learn more about it. So that's interesting. Yeah, so you went to the Culinary Institute. So I actually went to the Art Institute, which unfortunately is closed. Yes. I wish I could go to the Culinary Institute or, Cordon Bleu, but I already had Pitt loans. So student loans. So I had to kind of fast track it basically. So I got an associate's degree. It was just all culinary classes, none of like the fluff, you know what I mean? Okay. So yeah, there was, it was a year and a half. I just soaked it all in, just asked as many questions as I could. I was one of the oldest in the class at 23. They were all like, high school kids. What were your hopes and dreams at that point of what you would want to do? Did you want to like work in a restaurant or something? I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do because I didn't know what it entailed at that point. I mean, I've worked in restaurants since I was 16, 17 and on, but usually in the front of the house, not in the back of the house, in the kitchen. So I kind of just kept it open. And that's kind of what how I've lived for the rest of the time. Like, just see what comes, see what happens. Don't pigeonhole yourself with, this is what I want to do, and just see how you can make it better and learn from it. So
yeah.
But at this point, I don't think I'll ever work in a restaurant again. I like catering. It's different if you've never done it. So basically how I explain it is restaurants, you will prep all of the ingredients for the menu and see what people order. For catering, they give you the exact menu, the exact amount of people, the exact time it has to be ready.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more regimented and organized.
Yeah.
I don't thrive on chaos. I like organization, especially in the kitchen. So that is kind of my jam. I love catering. And also being, I just did a birthday party for a 70th birthday party.
I saw
for a lady.
that.
Just the love in the room and just being a part of that. Like I teared up when people were giving little testimonials of what they've gone through with that lovely lady. But I love
That's
catering.
cool. That's it's an easier way to, get more involved personally with the job, rather than it just being like you said, chaos.
Yeah.
Cause I've interviewed chefs where they almost think of it a different way. Like, my buddy who owns Streets on Carson, he worked, catering at one point and, it's just a different gear for people.
Right.
Some people want that like chaos. They want to be like, buzzing around like that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if I feel like I would be so overwhelmed, with a restaurant. Yeah. It would be nice to be able to like know exactly what, is expected of it all.
Yeah.
So how, what was the first job outside of school?
Well, it was fun for all. And then after that, I worked at Diamond Run Golf Club, which is very hoity-toity, very nice. I don't know what I was doing being hired there. I was 17 years old, and I remember I had to open up a bottle of wine tableside. I had never opened a bottle of wine before, let alone tableside with all the procedure and everything like that.
Wait, this is when you're how old?
17 years old. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're rewinding it back. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was the job? What was your first like food job outside of the Art Institute?
So I worked at a restaurant and catering company. It was all in the same building. It was Frescoes in the Chadwick in Wexford.
Okay.
And I started as a server, and in that time is when I decided to go to culinary school. So started to get into the back of the house and like catering manager jobs, and they call me Slash. So I was like, server / assistant manager / off premises / cook. So I just was a sponge. I just want to learn as much as I can. I did. There were learning, growing pains, as there is in any job, especially when you're early 20s. But I gained a lot of insight from that job in all aspects of what catering and restaurants can be. So,
I mean, really cool. And you said it was like, was it like what kind of stuff were you making?
Well, they had kind of like an Italian American flair, with the restaurant, and what the restaurant kind of did was use up the product that might not have been used in the catering aspect of it, because the catering was a lot larger of a venue.
Yeah. Okay. So, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now for you to kind of get in there and, how long until you get like your footing, you think?
Oh, in terms of what?
In terms of like being able to like not feel like a fish out of water in the back of a kitchen, because you said you worked in the front of the house mainly. Mm-hmm. For you to like kind of go back into that world, did you gravitate towards that immediately?
When I made the decision to go to culinary school, I wanted immediately to go into the kitchen, but they saw me as a server. They saw me as front of the house or an assistant manager. So they were resistant to let me, cross that line.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know.
Why do you think that? Do you think that's because you're female?
No, actually, what's really cool and what I learned a lot about was the lead. She wasn't the executive chef, but she was the lead catering chef, and she was amazing. She was the one that made the list and the prep sheets and the fire sheets, and I would just watch what she would do. I would also watch how she would interact with other people in the kitchen, because as a woman, it's a male-dominated industry to this day. It just is. I feel like I had to work 10 times harder to prove that I was worthy to be in there. I remember working at a job, and I went in to interview, and I was dressed nicely. And I overheard some guy say, "Oh, I'm out of the job. They're going to hire her, of course. Pretty girl." Like I know what I'm doing. Like I'm here because I'm applying for the job that I think I'm right for, but you immediately discredit me because I'm a woman. So I honestly have felt over the years that women in chef positions are so amazing. they're multitaskers. They are, list persons, very organized, but they also can understand the dynamic between employees, because every employee is different. Every person that you approach is different. Their motivation is different. And it's not like they would coddle me, but they would understand, like, okay, something's going down. Let's figure out, how we can just get through this and keep moving. You know what I mean? But I think that at the catering job, I was so young and I made a lot of mistakes, and I owned up to the mistakes. But I don't think that they had the trust in me at that point. And I didn't have the trust in myself,
That's
looking
understandable.
back, you know what I mean? I had a lot to learn. You come out of culinary school and somehow you feel like, oh, I know everything. I'm good. You know nothing at all in real world application. So I had a lot to learn for sure.
So you get in there and you're making mistakes and you're figuring things out. When is it until you're like, given some control back there where you're allowed to like actually, get in there, and whenever you feel like you got some trust from people? Is it years or?
It was a couple of years. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. So where I learned the most of anywhere I've ever worked, it's no longer in business, unfortunately, because I miss their food so much. It used to be Tusca Tapas. It was in the Southside Works.
Tusca's Tapas.
Tusca Tapas. So it was like small plates, you know what I mean? So a table would order 12 plates, and you would get little bites of every little thing. And Jeff Mag was my sous chef. He wasn't my exec chef, even though he turned into the exec chef. And I learned so much from the guy. Like he also has the type of mentality of let's have fun until we need to be serious. You know what I mean? Because it's a monotonous job. It's hot. It's sweaty. You're cutting yourself, burning yourself. It's long hours. Whenever everybody else is having fun on weeknights and weekends, you're working. So you have to kind of rely on the people that you work with. But I remember there was one time I made something that I thought I knew what I was doing, and I didn't ask for help, and I did not know what I was doing. And he was like, Jan, like, just let me know. Like, I can help you. I'm here to help. I don't want this wasted product in the garbage. I want you to ask and be humble enough to be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, can we swear?
Yeah.
Okay.
And be able to like figure it out and like kind of get the, rather than like waste a bunch of shit, just figure it out in the beginning.
Yeah. It humbled me for sure. And then after that, I was a food and beverage director at a golf course, 36-hole public golf course. So it was a lot. I ran the restaurant and the bar, and then we did like 100 to 120 outings every year.
Jeez.
And that was from like April to end of October. So that was a lot of balls in the air, a lot of figuring out like, different departments, how to work together, how to cross utilize, ingredients. And I learned so much. So yeah.
I bet amazing. You learned a good bit there.
Yeah. I was 26 when I started. I don't think they realized I was that young, but, I was working with people that were there for years, that were seasoned, that were not happy that this young girl was coming in to manage them. So I had to, traverse that as well, which is difficult, but I think I did pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like it would be, it would be stressful for anyone to just kind of jump into that.
Yeah. 60 hours a week. I would get to work at 6 a.m., 45 minutes away from where I work or from where I lived. So it was trial by fire for sure. I was there for 7 seasons, 6 years, 7 seasons. Yeah. So It was hard. Yeah.
Now, I mean, at that point, if you're the food and beverage manager, are you cooking it all then?
Oh, yes. I cooked all of the catering for all of the outings. We had this thing called the seniors tournament where 500 people would come out, and I would make 600 steaks in one day. I would make 600 steaks.
Yeah. So I've been to a golf outing where this has happened.
Yeah.
What are the logistics of that? How does that happen to where I don't even know. That's so crazy.
I know. So what we did was we had a cut of steak that I thought was very good, but in my young whippersnapper mind, I'm like, well, let's marinate it, and it's going to be so much better. It would take so much time, but so many people loved it because it was Worcestershire sauce and water. You would marinate it overnight, and it would caramelize on the outside to make a really nice crust on the grill. So people got used to it. So I got stuck doing that. and we would have big vats of steaks that had the marinade in them, and then you would have to, of course, dry them off. So we would have sheet trays with all of the towels and dry them off, turn them over. I mean, it was a whole production, and then it was really nice. The amount of space I have on the grill, I think I could fit 56 steaks at one time.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you would put all 56 steaks on, and by that point, you would go back to the beginning and turn that one over because they're ready to turn.
Wow.
And then that's where I learned this trick. Do you know this trick?
Yeah, touching like the palm.
Yeah. So if you put your finger, your thumb and your index finger together, and then you touch like the pad in your hand, that's a medium rare steak. And then if you middle finger, medium, ring finger, medium well, and then well done. So I would just sit there and just make sure that everything was at medium, because golfers can be particular about their steaks, and if someone came up and said, well done, I would butterfly it and throw it back on the grill. And then we would do, a baked potato, which you have to wrap them all up, and salad and vegetables and all that stuff. But they used to do frozen vegetables, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I used to do fresh vegetables that I would cut up and roast. And I mean, I tried to make it the best it could be,
Is crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. Looking back, what all I was involved. I mean, I would have like 30 employees every year and hope that they would come back after the off season. It wasn't like a full-time gig all year. It was off season.
So you doing that on top of all the rest of the, the organizing, all this stuff, like that is insane.
It's crazy. Yeah, I would order, I would do the menus, I would do the scheduling, the hiring, everything. I was that person.
No, I mean, like, how does that relationship end? Like, what happens after that?
Oh, I got pregnant. That's how that ended. No, I got pregnant in 2015, and I tried to go back after the year after I had my baby. I was able to be off. It kind of worked out. I gave birth in October, and then obviously the off season until like the end of March, April. So I had about 5 months off, and I went back and I said, I'm not going to be the food and beverage director. I'll be just the catering for, the outings. And I didn't realize how much time I had put toward that. And I still was working 35, 40 hours a week just on that. So I lasted another season, and then I stepped away. Still talk to them. Really nice family. It's a really nice family that owns it. But after that, I decided to get into private chefing and nannying for a nice family, because then I could bring my young son with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was perfect. So that's how that transitioned into it.
So as a private chef, like how do you approach that as far as, like a new venture? You know what I mean? Like at this point, you don't have Red Wagon. You're just kind of just starting this from nothing.
Right.
How do you, like, what's your mindset as far as that? Like, how did you want to do that?
So it basically was just what my client would want that week.
You wanted to work for one, like one family.
One family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One family. And it was nice because, like I said, I could bring my son, and I also would make meals for them, but then make double for me and my family and be able to bring that home. So while the baby would be napping, I would be making the meal for their dinner. So when they came home, they had a fresh meal ready to go.
So you just roll in there and you ask them like their preferences on what they want to make and what your and then you just go off from there.
I would give them a bunch of ideas, and then I kind of after time figured out their likes and dislikes and what they would go for. But it was just basically them setting the menu and then me just going grocery shopping while I was watching the little one, and then make the meals during nap time. So that worked. I know.
How long did you do that?
A year and a half. I did that for a year and a half, and then I worked for another nice family, and then unfortunately 2020 happened. Yeah. So that's how. Yeah.
So at this point, like, are you like, what's your social media game at this point?
Nothing. I started.
Did you have social media?
I started Chef Life Hacks a year ago.
Really?
A year ago.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I didn't know it was that recent.
Yeah. I had my own, Janet Locke account. That was just a personal thing. And then I started Red Wagon Meals on Instagram, and I started sharing little things here and there. People would comment like, "Oh, this is really cool. I didn't realize you could do it that way."
Does that have an Instagram, Red Wagon Meals?
No, I changed it from Red Wagon to Chef Life Hacks.
Okay, I was going to say, I could not find it.
So what happened was there was a night where I was talking to my husband. We're like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm on the precipice of something where I need to like change this direction and really go like full force into making videos, because I know a lot of stuff. Like I trained so many people over the years. Like I would train 17-year-olds how to make over easy eggs. Like
you thought about this last year. This is like when this comes to your mind.
Yep. It was probably 8:00 at night and I sat up. I'm like, oh, what about chef life hacks? Not just chef hacks, but like life too. So it's not just in the kitchen. And he's like, yeah, that would be awesome. Because then people know when they read your name, that's what you're all about. Red Wagon Meals is kind of ambiguous. You know, you don't know, okay, probably a catering company or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, January of last year is when I changed the name and just took off.
So, I mean, you changed this name, and like before you changed the name, have you made videos at all?
I probably made one or two, and I'm so embarrassed about them now looking back, because I was such a, I hadn't gained my confidence yet.
Are they still up?
Yeah.
You have to keep them up.
I know.
It's the most important thing, because like, you know, if you go back to the first episode of the podcast, it is the worst.
Really?
Oh my God. It's so terrible. One of my best friends who's in he's a rock star now. He's in Europe right now, touring, and he was the first episode, and it was just literally, you know, whenever I started this, I came up with like 25 questions. We were sitting down, I'd ask him a question, I'd let him talk. I was not listening to him at all. I was just preparing for the next one. Yes. And I'd ask the next question, and it was just it wasn't what it is now. Like now it's just more of a casual conversation, but before it was just so terrible. So I'll have people that have gone back, that are new listeners that go all the way back to the beginning, and we'll listen to it and they'll be like, wow, like, you know, it's definitely different. It's
progressed,
I like to go back, even though it's very cringy. Yes, it's like, you know, it shows you your growth.
Yeah, exactly.
So you like, what's your mindset whenever you're like making your first video? Like you said you're someone that is like a naturally introverted person. Mm-hmm. You know, what is your mindset as far as like putting yourself out there as like a content creator? Because it's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling to just like put your face in there and like act bubbly and like, you know, want to draw people in, because you're really just a drop in a bucket. So you have to figure out a way to make yourself stand out and be unique. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
At first, I didn't think I was going to show my face. I did all voiceovers. And
really?
Yeah, I did all voiceovers, and I had such a tough time getting the cadence of it, like understanding, you know, this is going to cut here, and then going to start timing here, and I couldn't do it all the way through.
Did you have any sort of like, you know, I don't assume you had any video editing?
Heck no. Okay. No. Oh my God. I was so green. I remember I would ask people to collaborate with me that I'd never met before. And now looking back, if someone asked me to collaborate that I'd never met, I'm like, who is this weirdo? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Just learn as you go. But I got to know, I really look at the comments. Every single person I try that comments, I try to say something back, because if you're taking time out of your day to leave that, you know, like, I don't want you to, like, say if we're together in a conversation and you say something and I say nothing, you'd be like, fuck, you know, screw her. You know what I mean? So I try really hard to be like, thank you so much, you know, for the kind words.
You know
something
Dane
like
Cook?
That. I love Dane Cook, yeah.
Dane Cook, whenever he started, he was attributed to being like one of the people that like really put comedy like back on the map whenever he kind of like innovated his MySpace and his website and everything. And he said in an interview that he would spend like, you know, 5 or 6 hours a night just sitting at his computer replying to people that would be on like any sort of forum, any sort of Discord, any sort of MySpace. So back then, if people would comment, like you said, you could just like leave it how it is now. Mm-hmm. But back then he spent so much time replying to people to build that sort of like, you know, I'd rather have 100 devoted people than 1,000 people that just like wave at you or whatever,
exactly.
whatever that quote was.
No, I totally get that. Yeah.
But that's interesting that you just said that. So that was like something in your mind from the beginning.
Yeah, because I remember whenever I would reach out to people that I liked or that I, you know, was a fan of, and when they would respond to me, oh, that's super cool. They saw what I said and said something back. It's the smallest little thing, and I am nobody. I'm not Dane Cook. I'm not Julia Child. But, you know, like I said, if you take that time, it's nice to have some reciprocation. So I definitely had that on my mind, because a lot of people are kind of too cool for school. You know what I mean? They don't really. I also would comment on other people's stuff and try to build them up or share their stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a hard thing to put yourself out there and maybe not get, the views or likes or anything like that. Because everybody's different. Maybe you're trying to make a living out of this. Maybe it's just a fun thing and, it makes you feel better if someone comments on it. So I try really hard to be invested in other people that I'm invested in. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, like how you started this, like you said you didn't want to show your face. Like how does that process unfold where you get to where you are now? Because you post videos, you're like you're the main person.
Yeah.
That's what you see first. How do you come to that sort of like realization that you need to do that?
I think it was my sister, actually. She said that, so I would do cooking classes sometimes with friends of mine just to get used to it or to understand the process for like a bigger cooking class that I was doing. So they were kind of like the guinea pigs. You
mean like how to run a class like a right way, as far as like a template? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh no. So I would have cooking classes with, like in-person cooking classes with friends and family of mine, just to understand like the process of how they would understand how I would explain things.
Yeah.
And then I remember it was my sister and I think it was my friend Melissa. They're like, you need to put yourself out there because you have these. I didn't realize how expressive my face was until I was on screen. And they're like, you're captivating. You are passionate about what you're talking about and it just flows out of you and other people will get excited about it too. So it was my happy place. So I wanted to, have people join me there.
You kind of have to be like that now. Did you enjoy social media before you started this, or were you like someone that like just had one, or were you very active on it before you started all this?
I was active with the friends that I had on my personal account.
Yeah.
I never had made a reel. I didn't do stories at that point. Like I was just kind of learning what was involved in it.
Yeah.
And along the way, the people that I've come across and become friends with, like they've helped me so much to understand like, okay, use this program to edit and, don't edit after you post because it's going to lower things. And at this point, I'm not really getting paid for my Instagram, but I might be in the future. And it's brought so much joy to my life to tell other people like, you guys can cook, you can do this, break it down, so.
I don't get paid for this. I mean, and I just I'm going to be on 7 years of doing this.
Yeah.
Like I've poured so much time and just like, I don't know, this is a passion project. That's what it is. And I feel like that's really where things kind of come through. The waters get muddied whenever you try to involve money with stuff.
Yeah.
Like sponsoring stuff, having to do ads. I'm kind of in this limbo now where I'm crossing that bridge, and it's just like part of me is so stubborn to want to like accept any form of like payment in returns for ads. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like authentic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of them like things that you try to have to figure out along the way. So you creating your channel and like, posting these videos, did you have an idea of like how often you wanted to do it? Did you have like any sort of like, plan, or were you kind of just starting it and just seeing how it went?
Flying by the seat of my pants. That's kind of the story of my life. I just kind of see what happens and then go with it and react.
What was the first video you did?
It was chicken marsala. Yeah. I didn't show my face, but I did a voiceover, and you look back and you can understand step by step. But I feel like when I got more confident in myself in being able to convey a recipe or a hack or something like that, it comes across, you know what I mean? Like I'm having a good time in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Like
you
your
can
egg
see
hack.
It. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm going to be known for that now.
Yeah. We were just watching it again. It's wild.
It's
I got
wild.
The baking soda. I got to try it next time.
Yeah. Happy Egg Company wants to sponsor me now
I
because
saw
of that.
Today.
It's
Congratulations.
like, I know. And what's nice is like, I'm able to choose companies that I was already a fan of. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put myself out there if I didn't really wholeheartedly believe in the product. And I love Happy Eggs. I think that, like the orange yolks are crazy.
I know. I see it all the time with Ryan Peters too.
Oh yeah. I worked with Ryan Peters. I remember that.
Yeah.
Early on.
It's such like a wild, I don't know. It's just wild because your thought of like having to involve yourself in the end of social media is like, it's stuff that like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't want to do. Like Dagny mentioned the same thing. She was like, like, I just don't even want to like, she was like, I don't really like want to, just be the face of it all the time. I'm like, you kind of got to like,
Yeah.
she's a personality. You're a personality.
Sure.
You know, you have to like, you know, use that to your benefit. Cause not everyone is like, not everyone is, you know, is easy to like, you know, relate to and learn stuff from. So your first video of you being on screen, what was that one? Do you know?
Oh dear. I'd have to look back. Honestly, I don't know. I think.
How many did you do before you were happy with it to where you like were you overcritical?
I'm still overcritical. I'm my own worst critic.
I'm sure you are. Just like, you know, all of us are overcritical about their stuff. But in the beginning, like, are you like, you know, I assume you didn't have any following then.
Right. I had maybe 200-300 people that followed me. You know what? I think it was the grilled cheese hack. And I'll tell you, because Heather Abraham saw it and reached out to me and was like, you need to be on the show. Okay.
What was the hack?
It was, you take a sheet tray and you put it in the oven while it's preheating. So it's hot.
Yeah.
You make your grilled cheese, put butter on the bottom of the pan, and then put your sandwiches on top and then dredge it on top with more butter. Okay. So it's just like, you know, a regular pan, grilled cheese, and you put the hot pan on top and put it back in the oven. So it will griddle both sides at the same time for like 20 different sandwiches if you want to.
I mean, like, where do you learn this?
I made it up. It was one drunken night. I was making mini grilled cheese because I was one of those ones that like, if you're inviting me, I'm bringing food. Like that's just what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably around my birthday one year. And I was like, yeah, I'm making mini grilled cheese sandwiches. Let me show you how I make it. And I just made it up. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Easy as that.
Now, I do like to say whenever I get something from someone else, I like to reference them because, you know, obviously information is out there. You're going to learn it somehow, some way. But if I know where I got it from, I want to give them a shout out. Like they took the time to impart the knowledge on me. So I want to give it back to them. So.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
When do you feel like you get a hold of it then, you know, as far as like being able to create videos? Cause I feel like you're pretty good at it now.
Oh, really?
Like,
oh, thanks.
Your videos are like, they're sharp, you know, they're tight videos. Like, there's not a lot of like fluff in them. It's just enough like, you know, it's fun. It's funny. You know, you get to the point.
Right.
I am someone that, my wife, you know, tries to beat it into my head. Like, you know, cut out all the extra bullshit, cut out the fluff. Like, why are your intros 12 minutes long?
Yeah.
She was like, no one gives a shit about, you know, no one wants to hear you just ramble that long. And it makes sense because like, I need that voice of reason where, you know, cause she's just, you know, echoing what a certain audience is feeling as well, probably.
So didn't tell you about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I listened to that, but you know, how do you, you know, kind of, hone in on that? And like, when do you start to feel like you get a hold of it?
What was it? I think it was, I made Eggs Benedict. I showed people how you can make hollandaise sauce in a blender really, really easily. And I got a lot of really good feedback from that. And I was like, you know, I could do this. And my sister was like, you're going to make it to 10,000 followers. I'm like, wouldn't that be cool?
Well, that's what's crazy. You have like what, 34,000 now. It's pretty good. And for you to just hear, for me to just hear that you just started this last year. So we're like what, 13, 14 months into this journey. Where does like the big pop happen? You know, because if you change it at Chef Life Hacks and you said that you had like 300-400 followers at that point, you know,
I know what it was.
What's like, you know, how do you get to where you are now?
So it's funny. You can look to see how many followers come from each reel. Like just that hack with the eggs, 5,000 followers from that one reel. It's
that
crazy. 2 weeks ago. Like what? I mean, I think the biggest, the one that really took off at first was potatoes. How do you ever see like potatoes? So you ever see the woman like she scores the outside, she boils them, and she pulls the skin off of it. I'm like, there's no freaking way that works, and it's not. It's more time consuming than it really needs to be, right? And like I have molten fingers, like the pads of my fingers are gone, right? After being so many people can't do that with their fingers and pull them away. So I kind of wanted to test it, and that's what flew. That one I think was my first like over 100,000 views, and I'm like, let's just keep going. So I did like 2 to 3 reels every week, and these things take like hours to do.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to next is like, how do you, like, what's your, how do you execute a video? Like how far ahead, like right now you said you had a list, you're a list person. Do you just have a list of ideas of videos you want to make?
Never ending list. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I figured.
Always adding more to it. Yeah. And I wish that like I could, so my son was on spring break last week and I was trying to film something. I'm like, all right, dad's in his office because he works from home. I just imagine there are walls around this kitchen and there are the doors closed and you cannot come in here because every time, can I get a snack? Can I get a lollipop? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm trying to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's challenging. What I usually do, I will write down what I think my intro should be, and then it's just off the cuff from there.
Okay.
And what I've learned to do actually is I will film the procedure and then really quickly say, okay, this is what I did in that procedure, and I'll put that voiceover on top of the video. So it actually makes it a lot faster.
Easier for you to watch the video and narrate over it.
Right. Because before I would narrate as I went, but sometimes I wouldn't say what I should have said. It would take too long. It would, you know what I mean? So I had
how much are you, you know, filming, and then how much do you have to cut out? Like, is your filming pretty tight, or are you just like, you're filming just a bunch of shit and you're just like cutting out the gems?
Dude, I probably will do the intro 5 or 6 times before I get it right. Every single time.
You ever see that video, that little girl who's singing I Will Always Love You on YouTube? It's like a viral YouTube video.
Yeah.
She's singing it and she keeps messing it up and she's like, fuck. And she just keeps flipping out. That's literally what my intros are like. Like I've recorded intros 15 times before.
Same.
I know. And it sucks.
And then once you get into it, like it, you know, it kind of flows. But I feel like the intro is what hooks people.
Yeah.
And I want them to watch the rest of it. I don't want them to be like, oh, this is going to be boring. Keep
it's
going.
So much more unforgiving for you though, because you're on video. It's like, I tried to do this whole video end of it all. I can't do it. I cannot produce the level quality videos that I want to do every week. It's just too time consuming.
Yeah.
Not getting anything out of it. It's just too time consuming. I still video all this stuff. I'll do something with it eventually, but for you to like record all this video, it's such a beast because half the people don't even want to like be recorded while we get interviewed. You know,
really?
Sally Wiggin would have not done this if it was on video.
What?
She specifically asked me, she was like, this is not on video, right?
She's a legend. What?
That's what I mean.
Wow.
She spent 30 plus years on TV. She don't need it anymore.
Good. I get it.
But it's overwhelming for you to record video because like you have to like be on all the time. Like you can't like have a second where you're like, you know, you just have to be on. Like, and if you're in an intro and you record an intro, you get halfway through it, you mess up, you got to do it over again. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well,
it's just crazy.
You can cut it.
I guess so.
Start
Yeah.
from the end.
What do you use to edit in?
It's called VN Video Editor. People told me about CapCut, but I didn't really like how it was set up.
I've never heard these.
It's easier to manipulate than
you use it on
CapCut.
do you edit on a computer?
On my phone.
Okay.
On my phone. So yeah, whenever I'm editing, like you'll hear my voice over and over and over again because I'm trying to like trim that little piece. And my youngest one is like, "Mommy, why are you still talking?" Like it's my voice on my phone, but he thinks it's me. But yeah, I mean, over time, it's gotten faster, but there is a threshold. Like it's not going to be 30 minutes start to finish, no matter what I do.
Yeah.
You know, actually that's why I started put that shit on everything sauces. Cause those are so quick and easy and I can show it to you really fast. You don't have to make sure that, you know, everything's cooked properly and you can show the whole procedure. So that's how that started.
That's so
Make
wild.
it fast. Yeah.
And how often do you try to put out videos?
Well, recently it's been a lot less, but usually 2 to 3 times a week is what I'm trying to do.
And like, whenever you started this, like, how much in your mind was like the SEO and like, you know, the algorithm and like, you know, like you mentioned before, don't edit things after you post because it takes away views. Like, how much knowledge do you have of that? I'm sure you gathered it over time through like word of mouth, but like, were you actively trying to figure that out to like, you know, capitalize on it?
I think once I got a video that had a lot of views, I feel like it makes you chase it more. Mm-hmm. This was always kind of a means to an end to get the Red Wagon Meals name out, or, you know, I didn't know it was going to have notoriety from Talk Pittsburgh, but it was just kind of like getting my name out there and saying, you know, I know what I'm talking about. I can make a really good meal for you, no matter if it's, you know, for 30 people or 2. I'm sorry, I forgot the question you were asking. What was it?
I was just saying, like, you know, we were talking about.
Oh, I'm glad you forget too.
Yeah, I forget too. Either way, we were talking about like going into the social media and
right,
like
right.
how you kind of like, because I don't really pay attention to it all.
Yeah.
I don't look at the insights on, my profile because like you said, you kind of get addicted to the number. Did that just come over time?
It came over time. There's this thing called the cohort. It's a group of people that are like-minded they're not all chefs, but they are content creators. And it started kind of when I started, back in April. I went to and that's where I met Doug, actually, Doug Cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, at one of the cohort things. And it was just a way of getting together with people that do make content, maybe that were trying to be more successful, and others that have been really successful, and talking through, what they did to be successful. Ryan Peters is actually on the board of that right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, he's a big helper in that too. But it just little by little, like I said, I'm a learner. So as much as I can take in and get better and get better and get better, that's what I'm going to do. So
do you get burnt out?
Yes. Yeah. All the time. Actually, just this last week and a half, I was pretty burnt out. I don't know if you saw, I had a tumble down the stairs.
I saw you say that.
It was, it's still actually, I have an ice pack in my car for on the way home in case
That's
my bum
terrible.
hurts. But you know how like when the women are playing tennis and they have a tennis ball in their skirt?
Yeah.
That's what my hiney looks like right now. So yeah, it's still healing. But yeah, I slipped and probably was airborne for about 5 or 6 steps before I hit right on, like, thank goodness I didn't hit my back or my tailbone.
You didn't break anything?
Yeah, I didn't break anything.
That's crazy.
But it was crazy. But just, I think getting back into it, I just want to share what I want.
I mean, for you to kind of figure it out and like, have this like new sort of like following on social media, do you get that feeling of like, I have to do stuff now? Like I have to like, because if I don't put on an episode, I would make myself like sick with anxiety. And I'm like, no one even cares that there's not an episode. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That I like skip it, but I just like something that I build up in my mind. Like, do you get that sort of feeling? Or are you good with it?
I used to. Now I'm good with it. Like I said, like I really want to share with people because they keep asking me to share different things, and I don't want to, let them down. I'm getting better at it. I used to be a huge people pleaser, but now I'm like, I don't got time for that. I'm so sorry. Like I got to keep moving, know? But yeah, it's challenging, especially because there's a lot of content creators that, bless their hearts, like they get to go to a restaurant, have a nice meal, make a cute little video, be done. Like I can't do that. Like I have to get all the groceries. I have to write the recipe. I have to make sure that it's cohesive and everybody can follow it.
You got to be a mom.
Exactly.
And
a wife. Yeah, exactly. So
That's
it's
crazy.
a lot. Yeah. Multitasking.
Well, so, I mean, like, do you record videos and then like bank them and then like, edit, or is it just like right then?
I wish.
Yeah.
I have the thought process of, okay, I'm already set up, I'm in my chef code. I have the lights set up and everything.
Bang out 3 videos.
Yeah. And it never my
works.
son never naps as long as you think he's going to. And that's usually when I do it, is when he's napping. And then when he wakes up, I'll try to like edit as much as I can. If I can't get to it by the end of the day, I'll do it the next day. But, women, we're multitaskers. We just keep it moving.
I know you really are. So for your for your thoughts of your videos, like, do you like what can you get them down to? Like how long does it usually take you? Like, are you in the kitchen for like a few hours? Are you got it kind of down to a science now, or like the steps? Like, I guess let me rephrase what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, are you calculated to the point now where you're efficient in recording, or is it kind of just like figuring it out along the way, like I'm sure it was in the beginning?
A little bit of both. I feel like I've gotten better in understanding what needs to be said and not realizing, oh shoot, I didn't say or show this. And you know what I mean? So the steps that you need. On the other side of that coin, there are times where I think it's only going to take maybe an hour or two to finish. And then it just, something throws a wrench in it and I have to go back and be like voiceover. So it's gotten a lot better. I will say that. It used to take 3 to 4 hours, probably takes 2 to 3 hours now, depending on what. And then there are times, when I would make something that would be in the oven for a few hours, like the short ribs that I made.
So while that
was in the oven, I would edit the stuff that I was already had already been filmed, and then do the ending with the tasting and all that good stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you try to use the time that you have wisely.
Your videos that you put out, like, what do you notice that gets more of a that gets more like, you know, action, you know, the life hack end of it all, or like the recipes, you know, like what do people online enjoy more?
The one thing I will say is controversy gives you the most play, basically. Whenever I did that egg hack, probably 150 of the 300 comments were, this is how I do my egg. You know what I mean? So I will never, ever say, don't be a rebel. Listen to what I tell you to do ever again, because TikTok just annihilated me. They're like, nope, we don't want to do that. We don't want to listen to what you want to do. But I always like to say, and I should have said that in the video, do what makes you happy. You know, if something works and it's delicious and you're not giving someone food poisoning knowingly, like, do what makes you happy. I'm just showing you how I do it, you know?
The internet's wild.
But some guy was like, get your life together, use a wooden spoon. I'm like, no.
I didn't even think about TikTok too.
Oh, TikTok. I have to brace myself every time I post something there. It's a whole other world.
Yeah. My wife, for a long time, she would just share, I would have 99 notifications of just videos, but then, you know, she was like, she saw me like looking at videos, and then I immediately will look at the comments of some of them because the comments are really where the entertainment is.
Yeah, they really are.
You know, they're the best because the best ones get sorted up top. And, you know, she realized now, I was like, you got to look at the comments. Like that's where like the craziness is and all the funny and all that. So I'm sure that, I mean, like, do you have people that like hate on the stuff that you're doing too?
I honestly think I should have more people hating on me. I have been pretty lucky. There are
what do you think people would hate? Like what are some examples, or just people that do things differently?
So I realized when I started filming that I have an eyebrow that's like The Rock. Like when I talk, my eyebrow goes up, right? Yeah. And this one woman was like, what's up with those eyebrows, bro? I'm like, I can't control it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like you remember all those stupid little things that people say, but not all the good stuff that people say, which is so dumb. So dumb.
Wow. But, what an example though.
I know.
That's but you just know like something that sticks in your mind.
I know. I'm like, that's what you have to, you know, call on me about. So I just block them and move on.
That's good.
I just like blocking people because if you're bringing negativity to my space, like I don't want you there. Even if it's like not egregious, like not really bad, I don't care. Like don't leave rude comments on someone's page that you have no idea who they are.
Yeah,
like,
if you got nothing nice to say.
Bye-bye.
I wish I had that much time to like, you know, voice my opinion in comments. I remember whenever I was like in my my wee 20s, I would like so vocal on Facebook about like, you know, dumbass stuff that I'm just like, I'll read some of my, you know, memories. I'm like, why would I even like
care?
You know, like why would I even care to even post all this stuff?
But I feel like once I turned 40, I gave a lot less fucks for sure.
You should. I mean, I mean, every day I give less, I feel.
Yeah.
To the point where it's getting better though. Like, so how do you like we talked about being burnt out, but like, how do you keep from burning yourself out as far as being a wife, mom, doing all this stuff? You know, like what do you do for your mental health?
You know, I was thinking about that. I love getting together with my girlfriends, like just being around women where you can, you know, champion the things that you've been doing that you're proud of, or bitch about the things that are really bothering you and they're feeling the same way. Like I just love getting my girls together. I feel like that's like my self-care. Like I'm not big on books or like running or anything like that. Like cooking is honestly my hobby as well as my work. So I like to get in the kitchen and just turn on the music. And
your kids picky to eat?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that's like a thing that like chefs have to deal with sometimes.
So annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's good stuff. I know what I'm talking about. Eat it. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I'll listen to like my mother, my niece's grandmother, and I'll listen to them try to talk to her about like food and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous.
I know.
She had her birthday this past weekend. Hilarious. Just turned 4. Okay. She had this little mermaid cake. Everyone's around the table. You know, we open this cake up. She blows out these candles, and my cousin's wife was like, "I'll cut the cake. It's fine." You know, she takes this. It's a big ass mermaid that I guess like just the tail was made with fondant. The rest was paper. She takes it off. Kid lost it.
No.
She was like, "I want that mermaid." She was like, "You can't eat this," but yeah, kids are interesting.
Yep.
So you make these good meals. I mean, I'm sure your husband is pumped about it.
Oh yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
good. What do you like cooking? Like, what are some of your favorite meals to cook? Like, do you have like a signature?
Yeah. So people, if they were to be asked what my signature is, two things: crab cakes and short ribs.
Really?
Yeah. Crab cakes have been for like probably 15 years. It's the same recipe I've been using every time.
Wow.
And then short ribs are new because I worked on it for a couple of years. Like I said, I'm my own worst critic. So when I make something, I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it could be better. It could always be better, no matter what. If I think this is banging, it could be better, you know? And I think that's a good way to look at it too. Like, don't get complacent and not be like,
for sure,
you know, like I'm the best ever. No, like you're never going to know everything. You're never going to learn every cuisine, every ingredient, every technique. Like you always are learning in cooking. And that's what I love about it. But yeah, my crab cakes started, I usually actually do them in like dollar size, like poppable appetizer ones. And then I'll put like 2 or 3 dipping sauces there. So like lemon caper aioli or roasted red pepper aioli, or, you know, that sort of thing. But, and then the short ribs came in probably 5 years ago. I started really working hard on those.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good stuff.
That's good. So, are you cooking every day for your family? Every day you're cooking?
Either for my family or for my clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
What, whenever you go out though, like what's your type of food that you enjoy?
Sushi.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because I can't make it. Like there's things.
I guess that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like whenever I go out and I try something really good, I go home and I try to recreate it. Sushi, I have tried, but I leave it to the professionals. And every time my husband and I want to go out to dinner, he chooses Mexican, I choose sushi. And then we just figure out
switch back and forth. Yeah. I know that's a lifelong battle.
Right.
You don't really ever get tired of cooking though?
I do. I mean, I think it's my mindset. It's not the actual action of cooking. It's just like, I have a lot on my mind right now, and this is one of the last things I need to be doing. I want to be doing, but I got to get it done. You know what I mean? So that's the times when I'm like, ugh. But most of the time, I'm like, let's do this. Like a lot of times when I have a cooking class or catering or something, I start too early because I want to like get into it and start going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm always early. I was early here today.
Well, that's
actually.
good. I much prefer that. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I'm almost there." I'm like, "What's your ETA?" And they're like, "I'll tell people to be here for at 6." So I told you, I said, show up for 5:15 for a 5:30 start.
Yeah.
I tell people that now, and that's just recent because I would tell people to be here at 5:30 and people would like literally try to roll up at 6:15.
No.
And I'm just like, we're not doing this. I've just canceled interviews because it's just
Good
like,
for you.
I'm just not doing it.
Your time is valuable too. Like, come on, man.
God.
Well, my dad was in the Navy and he had this saying that if you're on time, you're 5 minutes late.
Yeah. If you're on time, you're late.
I was always that person. I mean, I was usually like with friends of mine, I was the driver because I knew they were going to be late.
100%. I told my wife before, I was like, it was like 4:50 and I was like, I'm going to go down here and get everything ready. I have a feeling she's going to be early.
No way.
And I swear to God. And my wife was like, yeah, I bet she would be too. And you were.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, like,
I like being known as that. You know?
I appreciate it. I appreciate the early. Dagny was early too. You know,
Nice.
I like when people roll up early. It's better than being late.
I
for
need
sure.
to meet Miss Dagny because I love that.
You haven't met her yet?
I haven't, and I need to. I loved listening to her episode last week. It was really
You
cool.
gotta go.
Her process, holy crap, all by herself.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's chaotic.
Yeah.
She has, it's a chaotic symphony in that kitchen back there.
Perfectly imperfect, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But you know, that's what the podcast is about. It's like you learn all this from everyone. It's like I had no idea anything about you. So I was interested to learn because I see your videos and it's like a quick, 2-3 minute of you being like a personality of, but you're really only talking about food. Like, do you ever think about adding like, you don't really add like a lot of like personality as far as like your personal life to your videos, right?
Yeah. I do that sometimes in stories, but I feel like with reels,
you just post reels.
I
right?
just post reels. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll do like a static post with, photos, the carousel, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But I feel like I hate that word niche, whatever, how you say it.
Yeah.
But I feel like people come to expect a certain thing from me and I want to deliver, and I don't. There probably will be a time where I'll get more into it, but I don't know. I'm kind of a private person. Like my business is my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I understand that.
Yeah. It's not like there's anything that I'm hiding. It's just, I don't want everybody to know about everything about me, you know?
Yeah.
A little mystery.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. It's enough that like I feel that you got in front of the camera. I feel as just a content consumer, it would be hard for me to just listen to people's voices
Right.
and watch along with videos. You know, it's easier to like, you know, relate to someone whenever you get to see their face.
I feel like a lot of times if they don't show their face, it's because they have really good audio visual type stuff. You know what I mean? So that's captivating,
Yeah.
which I don't have. I have my phone and ring lights and an ugly ass kitchen that I wish I could have renovated 5 years ago. But, you know, stuff keeps coming up. Like, you know, I had to get a new roof and, you know,
I know.
AC and all that.
Adulting.
So. I know. That was actually the
sucks.
other reason why I didn't want to put myself out there, because I didn't really like my kitchen. I thought it was real ugly, but it's my kitchen. It's where
Interesting.
you know,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought of it. Now that I think of it, it's almost like it's what color is it? Like maroon?
Brown.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
brown. Yeah.
Okay,
I used to
yeah.
actually, if you look back, I used to go over to my sister's apartment complex to do all of my filming.
Wow.
And then it just took so much time to bring all that stuff over, and you know what I mean?
See, I feel
Set all
like
the time.
that is like something that the creator kind of like hyper focuses on, because as a watcher, I would have never ever that would have never popped in my mind.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like you're not like showcasing your entire kitchen. It's kind of just like, you know, popping out of are you on a cabinet? Do you have your phone like in a cabinet or something?
It's on like a ring light holder thing.
Okay.
Like right in front of me. Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's a consistent look.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
It's you right there, and then you have like the aerial looking down,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I like it. It's like like you said, you could kind of expect what you're getting,
Yeah.
but you still have all the intricate or interesting things. Where do you get all your knowledge from? As far as like, are you someone that like seeks out new knowledge as far as online? Like you just like look through stuff, or is it consuming through social media? You learn a lot more.
Good question. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll get like a bug in my ear about something and I want to know more about it. So I'll do as much research of, you know, really good sources as I can find. So, you know, I like to tell people, like, if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I'll research it for you because I want to know too.
Yeah.
But if I give you an answer, just know that it's been researched, and in my mind at this point it's tried and true. It's
Yeah.
not it's factual, you know what I mean? Like I'm a factoid person. Like little nuances always tickled me. I don't know why. I'm weird that way.
I like that. Were you like one of the young kids that had like the book of 1,000 facts and everything like that?
No, but I remember. So my dad, before he got into the Navy, was a history teacher, and my mom was always like in clerical work, you
Wow.
know, secretary and that sort of thing. Actually, my dad claimed to fame. Do you remember the show Coach?
Yeah.
With Dauber,
Yeah.
and then on SpongeBob SquarePants, Patrick.
Yeah.
Bill Fagerbakke was he was his teacher. He was a student of my dad's.
Really?
Back in the 70s. And he looked the exact same, like tall, blonde hair, real bulky, you know,
Wow.
nice guy. Anyway, so my dad was an educator. My mom was always in clerical work. And I remember being I think I was in second grade, and I was on the bus and I told some girl, like, it's not who, it's whom. And she's like, why do you care? And I don't know why I care. I've been told to care, you know? So it's just, in my mind, like, try to put your best face forward in terms of factual things, especially when you're on Instagram trying to tell people what to do.
Understandable.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, do you think that you're ready to get to the ending segment of the podcast?
Yes.
I mean, is there anything I think we didn't cover?
No, I think we kind of hit all the nails on the head. I'm a listener, so I have
You
thought about
this?
these questions
Okay.
before, so I know what's coming.
All right. Ending segment that I do with everyone is called Desert Island Questions. Okay, desert island questions. Whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island, use until they starve to death and die. First category, 3 movies to take.
Okay, I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan.
Okay.
My favorite Tom Hanks movie is Forrest Gump.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Forrest Gump.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Jen A. I mean, I have a
That's a
sister
good
named
one.
Jen, you know.
I remember for a long time I thought that was a factual movie.
I know, right?
I did. I remember as a young kid thinking like, this is really what happened.
Yeah, I know.
Funny.
My second one is Good Will Hunting.
Fantastic.
I love that. I'm a huge, Matt Damon fan, but also
Everyone. Robin Williams.
Thank you, Robin Williams.
Ben Affleck.
Blanked.
All of it.
Yeah, I mean, and then finding out the backstory of like how they got Robin Williams to be on there is amazing. Like,
I just actually was listening to an interview with Ben Affleck talking about Matt Damon, kind of having this idea about, what Good Will Hunting is, and then talking about who's going to play Will. And I thought that was, I don't know. I love listening to like those kind of like behind the scenes things like that.
Yeah. Things not everybody knows. And then my third one is a girly one, The Notebook.
That's a good one.
I love The Notebook.
It's a good one. I'm a new reader, but that's been on my reading list. Everyone says that it's so great, but I kind of know the ending. So it's I don't know if I'll think that the book is as great as everyone says it is. Because I remember my mom reading it and thinking like, my mom was like, oh, it's so good. Like, it's a great book.
Well, I remember the first time I ever watched it, I didn't realize that the narrators were the two main characters. And in the book, I'm sure that would have been a huge surprise too. So yeah, that was always.
Oh yeah. Fantastic movie.
I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan too.
Who isn't? Did you watch the SNL?
Yes, I know.
The Beavis and Butthead SNL was the funniest. That was probably one of the funniest I've ever laughed. Anytime he's on.
Yeah. Him and Justin Timberlake are good on there too. Yeah, Justin's good on there too. Yeah. No, I was in stitches. Actually, my son came out of his room. He was already in bed when I was watching the rerun of it. And he was like, Mom, what are you laughing at? I'm like,
real good.
You have no idea.
Very funny. Okay, second category. I usually ask people 3 books. If you had to pick 3 restaurants in the city that you enjoy.
Oh, I have books ready.
Oh, you have books?
I have books ready.
Okay, let me know.
I could do restaurants too.
No, tell me books.
So the first one, I'm kind of cheating. I would get a book about foraging in my geographical location of where I was.
I love that. It's a good answer.
So like what to eat, you know?
Yeah, I've had people say like, what about like a marine handbook? I'm like, that's a good answer. Or like a edible plants.
Oh,
book.
yeah.
I'm like, those are great answers. So I appreciate that.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I've put some thought into it.
Okay.
And then my other one too is Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. You ever hear about that?
Yeah, it was like a poetry book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I loved it when I was younger. I had a really nice second grade teacher, Mrs. Robinson, that loved it. She used to always read it to us. So then I found my copy from when I was younger and I started reading it to my oldest.
Wow.
And like we would leaf through and, it was
brought
awesome.
back memories?
Yeah, to like share it with him.
How old are your kids?
I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Do they have, this is random, but do they have school book fairs?
Yes.
Oh, they still have that?
They still have them, yep.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, he goes nuts. He loves it. Yeah.
I remember buying so many books and not reading a single one back then. I just loved going and doing it.
I would get like the Lisa Frank stuff.
Yeah, all that dumb stuff. I remember buying bouncy ball kits and stupid things like that, posters of cars.
I know.
Okay, third category, 3 CDs.
Okay. So surprisingly, I'm a huge Billie Eilish fan. Whenever she came out with When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I listened to that on repeat, like with Bad Guy, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of coincided a little bit with COVID. So, we were home, had a lot of time, and I would just listen to that CD when I was like stressed or whatever. And I ended up being like the top 1% of her listeners on Spotify,
really?
like 2 years in a row. I don't know. I just like, she started so young. I have like a motherly attachment to her. Like I want her to do well and not like, turn out like a lot of kids in the industry.
One of her songs, my favorite ever, Ocean Eyes.
I know.
That's a fantastic song.
When she did that.
It's 14. Insane. It's crazy that her brother is like, the writer and stuff like that. It's pretty wild that, that whole family is, as talented that they are.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Second one is, Jimmy Buffett, Songs You Know by Heart.
Jimmy Buffett. Okay, that's good.
And the reason is so we moved around a lot, like I said, and we lived in Virginia Beach for the longest, and that was an 8-hour trip to get to where my grandma lived in Belle Vernon, which is like an hour south of Pittsburgh. And we would listen to that CD front to back, right? As I thought. I got to college and I realized there was a song that my mom always skipped, and it was Get Drunk and Screw. So we're listening to this CD and this song comes on. I know everything by heart, right? I'm like, what the hell is this song? This isn't on the CD. And it just to come to find out, my mom would skip it every time so we wouldn't listen to it.
There you go, rated PG.
I know. And then lastly, I know you look at me like I'm prim and proper, but Marshall Mathers by Eminem.
That's good.
Marshall Mathers LP. I don't know, just his lyrics and words and how he would put them together was just mind blowing to me.
That's a good list. That's
nice.
That's a good variety.
Cool. Okay.
Good variety.
Good.
Okay. Third to last question is the death row meal. Appetizer, main course, and the dessert. What's your appetizer?
My appetizer is a seafood tower.
That's a good answer.
So I could get all the stuff on there.
Okay.
Because I love seafood. Living by the sea all the time, we would
Yeah.
always have fresh seafood.
Is there any foods you don't like?
Oh, I have a couple. I don't like water chestnuts
Neither
because
does
of
Antoinette.
Really?
She
The
doesn't like
texture.
water chestnuts, or she don't like mushrooms that are uncooked.
Okay.
They have to be like almost like trumpet mushrooms, like in like a ramen or something.
I get
like
you.
that.
I can see
But
that,
She
yeah.
picks them out all the time. But
Yeah.
water chestnuts, I love them.
Oh no.
The texture.
If I would pick all of them out and there would be like one little piece left in there, it was like sand between my teeth.
Yeah.
I don't like the texture of it. Peas out of the pod,
Yeah.
I don't like. Like
Yeah.
I like them in the pod. But,
Yeah.
Or with something else, like fried rice.
I just don't like peas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done with peas. Never liked peas.
Oh, the black licorice flavor, star anise, don't like that.
terrible.
I think there's one.
My
coconut.
guy at work just literally asked me if I liked licorice. I swear this was today. It was either today or yesterday, but he was like, I was like, yeah, I like licorice. And then he brought me, and it was black licorice. I was like, I don't like that
That's not licorice.
He was like, I won't even eat this. And he's like the guy that's eating all the terrible, like leftover candies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, black licorice. Terrible
Yeah.
flavor.
And
You
then-
like pizzelles?
I love pizzelles, but only when they have like almond and vanilla in
Yeah,
them.
like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last thing is coconut. I don't like coconut texture or taste. I don't really
Hmm.
like it. I think it's textural things for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah. Okay. So seafood tower. And then for my main meal, it would be shoyu ramen. Ramen noodles, ramen.
Yeah.
And probably like bao buns with it because I love bao buns.
Very good.
And then my dessert is actually something my mom makes that not a lot of people know about. It's called pistachio cake. And it's like neon green because you use pistachio pudding
Yeah.
in a bundt pan. And there's nothing on it. Like it's just the cake. And when I brought it home for the first time for my then boyfriend, now husband, he was like, oh my God, like what is this? It's just
So it's a regular cake with pistachio pudding in it?
pistachio pudding. It makes it really, really green. And it's just in a bundt pan. And
Now,
she bakes it.
do you mix the pistachio pudding in it while it's dry still? Okay.
Yeah. And then you add your liquids
I
and
didn't know.
stuff.
Have you ever heard of a poke cake?
Poke cake?
Poke cake.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like the same thing where you make a regular cake and then pour that over.
No, it's all encompassed, and then it's just in a bundt pan.
That sounds good.
Yeah, green
Okay.
cake we used to call it.
Okay, now humor me if you had 3 restaurants that you enjoy around the city.
I love the Parlor Dim Sum.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, it's good.
I know.
Actually, anything Roger Lee does, I'm behind. Like he does umami and nanban.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
haven't
not
been to
sponsored.
Umami yet either.
Yeah, it's all his stuff, and it's really, really
I know
good
everyone
stuff.
says that it's good.
Yeah, and then actually one's close to here that I want to check out. I know I haven't checked it out, but I know it's going to be good. Jeff Maggs, remember my sous chef who I mentioned?
Yeah.
He works around here at that Nate's Chop Shop. It's like 8 minutes from here. I looked it up. It's right
Nate's
in
Chop Shop. I don't even know where that. I've never
Actually-
even heard of that.
Anna from Anna Eats. She went there a couple weeks ago and highlighted it.
Nate's Chop Shop.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna have
really
to look
close
it
to
up.
you.
What is it like? What kind of restaurant?
Like a bistro, like a steak and stuff like that. Yeah,
Huh.
it's
I'll have
really
to
good.
look that up.
He does good stuff.
Okay.
Good chef. And then the third one, I don't know if I have a third one.
What's your preferred sushi place?
It's changed because the sous chef changed.
Oh, okay, understandable.
There was so there's this place on Mount Washington called Arturo, Arturo. It just opened in the last couple weeks, and my favorite sous chef, his name is Dan. Well, his American name is Dan. Young Min Lee is his real name. He's amazing, and I've never had better sushi than his. And he's the sushi chef at Arturo now, so I really want to go check that out. Yeah,
Arturo. Okay, that's good.
fancy schmancy, but yeah.
Okay, second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip. You go into a gas station, get a snack. What is it?
Funyuns.
Really?
Yeah.
I love a Funyun.
I love Funyuns.
Been a long time since I had one.
Yeah.
Do you eat them often?
It's a nostalgic thing for me. When I see them, I just
That's what
grab
I mean.
one.
I feel like I don't know if I would enjoy it if I would eat them now. I'm gonna have to get some.
They're like Captain Crunch. They mess up the roof of your mouth sometimes.
I
but-
do remember that. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, can I say 2 people?
Yeah.
Julia Child, because she's always been a huge inspiration of mine.
That would be good.
She's a tall girl too, and she was on TV, and I used to watch her with my grandma. And then my dad's mom, we used to call her Grandma Idaho. Her name was Margaret Shepard. She passed away. I think it Yeah, I was in college. It was my first year of college, and I barely knew her because she lived out in Idaho.
Yeah.
But from what I've told, she's just like my mom and just the nicest lady. And I would have loved to have a conversation with her. She's really sweet.
Those are good answers.
Thanks.
This was a great conversation. I think that what you're doing is definitely interesting. It's interesting to hear kind of how it all unfolded.
Yeah.
And how it kind of just came out of nowhere. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I let things fall in my lap and then go with it, you know?
Well, that's good. I mean, you got to figure out how to harness it while you can.
Sure.
So, I mean, like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want? What do you want out of everything? Do you do you have any ideas? Do you spend a lot of time thinking about that right now?
I'm not totally a goal-oriented person. I'm kind of like fly by the seat of your pants type of person, but I really would love to get some sort of my products on shelves to sell in either, a boutique or, Giant Eagle or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be the next step for me to kind of elevate because it's a good income and consistent and, you're not trudging in the dirty waters of the kitchen every week.
Yeah.
I would love to do I have granola that I like to make, a bunch of different kinds. I make this fruit compote where it's basically just using berries and kind of boiling them down. It's like a really fancy jam, basically.
Yeah.
So something like that I think would be really fun. But I don't know. Like I said, I just kind of see what comes and go with it. So
that's how I like to do things too. You gotta. I mean, things could all be different tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, you can have plan A, B, and C, and then you need Z. You know what I mean?
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Take a second and tell everyone where they could follow you, where they could see all your work, and how they could, see what you're doing.
Sure. All right. So Janet Loughran is my name. And on Instagram, it's Chef Life Hacks, as well as on TikTok and Facebook. But Facebook is kind of,
Do you not spend
no
time
man's
on that?
land. I don't gain a lot of traction, so I don't really do much on there. I'm on KDKA's Talk Pittsburgh once a month as their chef contributor. And then, just a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. So
that's good.
Very excited. Yeah.
I appreciate you taking some time to talk to me.
My pleasure, man.
It was a great time. Everyone else that's listening, thank yous as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things in the city. Thank yous for listening. Call you right back.